The sudden appearance of COVID-19 sent the world into a series of lockdowns to the increase in ritual killings among Nigerian teenagers, recent war in Ukraine, economic crisis in Nigeria, and other parts of the world, among other things facing the world right now. These and more prompted the need to discuss the topic raising kids in times like this. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk on DNTWOK. I am Oluja Kemasako. Joining me in the studio is Mrs. Omolara Ayoola, also known as PMH, CEO World Foundation, and a gospel movie actor. But before we delve into the topic proper, would like to remind you to please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media platforms. And until you do so, please enjoy this time out with us. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, Miss Ayoola, for coming on the show. It's indeed a great privilege and an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we know that the world right now is really going through a whole lot of things. Is there anything like a perfect time to be a parent?
Well, if we're talking about perfect time to be a parent, or maybe a perfect timing to be a parent, really, that question has a very wide explanation. When you're talking about perfect timing to be a parent, it could be that someone who is a teenager who is not ready to be a parent, and the person just goes to get pregnant and drops out of school. Of course, there's no way such a child will be able to take care of that kind of child. But if you're talking about perfect timing for people who marry properly, and then they are looking at their environment or the society to decide when they are going to be parents, I feel that in that regard, there's no perfect timing to be a parent. Honestly, there is no time, because even in this age and time, we see that some people, God has helped them to actually train their children to turn out well. We've seen so many things happening around the world. We've seen a lot of children turn out, terribly, and they're not just encouraging the parents as to the kind of thing they have done, and the kind of sacrifices that they have gone through, the things that they have done to make sure that those children are okay. So we see in this age and time, we should just trust God to help us raise our children. Because if we are waiting for the perfect time, if we are waiting for an excellent time, there is no perfect time. There is no perfect time. Before now, the world has been so bad. Everything has been so terrible. And I realized that in the past 25, 30 years, we see people praying that God, please help Nigeria to be better, help the world to be better. But we realize that instead of it to get better, things are just getting worse. I'm not a sadist. I'm not trying to prophesy negativity, but it's just the reality of where we have found ourselves. Things are not just getting better, but in the midst of it all, we see a lot of people doing well. We see some children, turning out well. We see some parents raising godly children, even in this age and time, in this terrible time. I think basically what we should just do is just trust God to help us raise our children. We should just trust God to help our children, because if we are waiting for perfect timing, we're not going to do anything. We should just trust God that in this, even in the midst of this chaos, in the midst of this perverse generation, that God should just help our children to turn out well. Our children did not choose where they are going to be born. They didn't choose it. So if they come at this time, they have come at a perfect timing for them. It now depends on how we are able to train them, how we have put them before God, for God to help them to be able to turn out well. Whether we like it or not, we have seen children who have turned out well in this generation, and at the same time, we have seen children who did not turn out well. So there is no perfect timing at all. The perfect timing is God's timing.
What about perfect circumstances to raise perfect children, if there is anything close to perfect?
Perfect circumstances, yes, there could be perfect circumstances. There could be, of course, there could be, is there anywhere that is safe in this world? I don't think so. Nowhere is safe in this world. Talking about perfect circumstances, well, I won't really say that. If there's no perfect timing, circumstances and timing, they're almost the same thing. Honestly, they are almost the same thing. I think the only thing I can say when it comes to perfect circumstances is that this can happen within the home setting. It can happen within the home setting. When you're talking about circumstances, you're talking about the time that you spend with your children, the time that you have the opportunity of training children, or maybe sometimes, okay, one of the perfect circumstances that can happen is when you probably you're watching something that you could teach children from. There are some parents that when they are watching programs, they don't sit with their children to explain to them. They don't sit with their children to help the children learn from what they are watching. They leave the children to just do whatever they like. They leave them to just watch whatever they like. Another one thing that can happen is that parents need to start sitting with their children to let them get wisdom from whatever is being shown. We should be able to sit with them to help them learn lessons from things and also learn from our own lives too. So talking about perfect timing, we have to create that perfect timing. There's no perfect timing that can create itself. We have to create it by ourselves because the world is just nowhere is safe in this world except the presence of God. So perfect timing, perfect circumstances, we just have to create it by ourselves through the help of God. We have to create it, and I think it can happen in the home. When our children are out there, we cannot control what happens. We cannot control what they do. We cannot control the people they meet. We cannot control the choices that they make. But everything should start from the home. And once we do our part and we put them in the hand of God, we allow God to take care of them wherever they are.
Thank you so much for that. Looking at the world right now, COVID-19 pandemic, inflation, economic meltdown in Nigeria, Russian invasion of Ukraine, ritual killings among Nigerian teenagers. What are the biggest challenges parents face or are facing in all of this?
Well, there are so many challenges there, and I would put everything under insecurity. Sincerely, everything is under insecurity. There's financial insecurity. There is security insecurity. Honestly, because even our security is not secured anymore. So there are so many things. Even academic insecurity. The schools are no longer secure. Those are the things that is making lots of parents to be on the edge, and people are beginning to become very worried about their children. Your children must go to school, they must go to church, they must go to some places, they will meet with people. You don't even know the people they are meeting. You don't have an idea of the kind of association or the kind of things they are doing, the choices they are making, So that's why in all of these things, a lot of parents are being insecure because there is insecurity everywhere. There is insecurity everywhere. Parents can no longer look at what happened in Nigeria recently. A young lady, a mature lady who was coming from work and entered into BRT. And then they destroyed the destiny of that child. Now, after that incident, a lot of parents are afraid. They don't even know what will become of their children when they step out of the house. They don't even know what will become of their children when they get, to wherever they are going. Look at ASU is on strike now. We don't know for how long. There is insecurity everywhere. Parents are afraid that their children may not be able to finish school when, they have assumed that they will finish. They'll finish. A lot of things are not just okay. But one thing that I would always say is that, see, everyone, we need, I would say this from the beginning to the end, we need to hide under God. There is insecurity everywhere. A lot of people are afraid. People don't even want their children to go out again. You see parents locking their children right in the house, and children cannot just mingle with other people just because they just want to secure their children. They are afraid of this, they're afraid of that. Parents are afraid that they may not get paid at work. A lot of people will work from first of the month to the end of the month. They are not getting paid. A lot of children are being sent out of school because of school fees. So there are different challenges, there are different issues everywhere. But we trust God. God is the creator of heaven and earth. He's the one who created us. He's the master of circumstances. He's the master over challenges. He's the only one that we can put everything in his hands. Getting afraid and not allowing your children go out is not the solution. It's not the solution. That is not what would help children to be better. We can only train them in our own little way, you know. And another thing is, you know, insecurity of when my children know my past, they may not respect me anymore. That's even there. A lot of parents don't share their past with their children. They don't make their children know that they were not even perfect people. They don't share the consequences of their own actions with their children. So everybody is insecure. Everybody. And that's another challenge, because children will be looking at their parents as, oh, my mother has never done anything bad before. It's like my mother doesn't even understand what I'm going through. If parents can share their past, share their choices, the wrong choices they made, the wrong things they did, the consequences they faced, share with their children, I think it will give the children more understanding of how the world works. Because a lot of parents have been here before their children. We should help them know that, see, this is how this life works. We should train them to be smart, to be street smart, and to be spiritually smart as well. A lot of people, you know, they teach their children the Bible, but they are not teaching them sense, worldly sense. We need to teach our children worldly sense. We should teach them how to be smart, how to understand their environment, coupled with the word of God, coupled with raising them in the way of the Lord and teaching them to be spiritually smart as well. We need to also teach them to be street smart. And so all these things are the challenges that parents are going through. It has poured fear into the heart of people. So people don't want to talk, people don't want to relate, people don't want to share deep things with their children anymore, because they don't even know. And see, even the internet is another thing. The internet has caused a lot of is one of the challenges that parents are facing in this age and time, because a lot of children are being raised by Google. And so parents are afraid. They don't want to, even the things that their children are supposed to learn from online, they cut their children off the internet. They don't want them to be connected with people. They don't just want anything. So many things are not just right. But we cannot outrightly cut our children off the internet, but we can guide them through it. We can help them, you know, to be able to navigate, to know what exactly they are supposed to be exposed to and what they should avoid being exposed to. And like I said, with prayer, showing them the way of the Lord, teaching them the commandments of God, and letting them know that if you do this, this is the consequence. If you do this, is the consequence. And you know, that's just it.
I would like to pause you there so we can quickly go on this break. And when we come back, we continue from there. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the program is Let's Talk, and I've been speaking with Mrs. Omolara Ayoola, CEO, Wall Foundation, and actor. Well, before we went on that break, we've been discussing the challenges parents are facing in times like this. So, Ms. Ayoola, can we please continue from that point?
Okay. So I was talking about the internet before we went on break. this internet matter has destroyed the lives of so many people. So many people. Some parents would have done great work to raise their children, and then all of a sudden, the child gets exposed to the internet, meets one person or the other, and that's the beginning. I was watching a video today how some teenagers, some young people were exposed to drugs from the internet. They were exposed to drugs right from the internet. Another one from friends. And so many things, a lot of things are making people to be so afraid and making it difficult for parents to really raise the children the way they are supposed to raise their children, the way they would love to. But the truth of the matter still remains, because Isaiah 54 says, all your children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be their peace. Yes, there may be challenges, but if you put them, soak them in God, soak these children in God, and don't pretend. Some parents are soaking their children in God, but the parents are not even modeling the right lifestyle to those children. And that's why you see some children become wayward, they become, very stubborn, and they are not just respecting the parents. Ask the parent, is the parent modeling the right thing? Is the parents, even parents have their own challenges that they are going through. They have challenges at work. Some parents even have health challenges. And that's one of the things that's making them difficult to even raise that, because they have to battle with their own issues personally by themselves, thereby, leaving the children out. Job, even from work, you see parents, they are at the verge of being sacked at work, so they want to commit everything they have. They want to commit all their life to their work. They will leave home in the morning because they don't want to get to work late. Traffic on the way, their children will be taken care of by a nanny. It's this nanny that will take them to school. The nanny will bring them back home. Sometimes it's not the fault of the parents. It is not the fault of the parents. But really, I see that sacrifice is the way out here. Sacrifice. Many parents, we need to sacrifice time, sacrifice our energy, sacrifice our money, sacrifice even, many things to be able to see that we see to these children. I heard that one popular Nollywood actor, a female, had decided to just resign from Nollywood just to take care of her children. Decided to resign. I'm sure she had faced some challenges in raising those children. Maybe her job was the problem. Maybe she had noticed some things in the house and she just needed to sacrifice. If we are not ready to sacrifice as parents, the challenges will still go on. Even parents who sacrifice still face challenge, still face all those challenges. My elder sister had to leave her job. She worked at the airport. She was working at the airport. She was making cool money. She was doing okay. But at a point in her life, she made up her mind she was going to resign and she wanted to face her children. She developed another business that she was doing at home, and she was carrying her children along. Her children now, they follow her when she's going on, she became a caterer. She went on a training and then she organized events. And that's what she's doing. So now that she organizes events, her children follow her, because of course they are mature. They are matured now, so they follow her to that event. So she sees what is happening around her children. She has to sacrifice. She may not make as much as she was making when she was working at the airport, but gradually the business will keep growing and then things will start getting better. Sacrifice is one of the things that many of us cannot make. That's why challenges are becoming very overwhelming.
All right. So I'm also going to further to ask a further question on that. Well, you actually now the person, or the people making sacrifices, from what you've just said, is basically women. So we want to look at the aspect of men, but I'm going to add this question to it, which is movie industry and the home front, which you've actually touched, have been blamed for the increase in ritual killings in Nigeria. As a gospel movie person, how would you like to see it, and what can be done to actually salvage the situation? Also touching on the men aspect.
Okay. Well, when I was talking the other time, because the examples I gave happened to be women, it doesn't mean that I was saying it is women that should sacrifice all alone. Of course, men need to sacrifice as well. It has to be a combined effect because we are a team. No one person, is responsible for having a child. Yeah, we're a team. We need to work together. We need to understand how can we come together and raise these children. There may be time that the man has to stay at home to look after the children. There may be time that the wife has to stay at home to look after the children. It has to be a combined effort. And so, talking about movie industry and this and that, home front has been the cause of this. I would not say particularly that the movie industry is completely 100%, responsible for all the killings, all the things that are happening. I would not say that 100%. I would say that all of these things started from home. Many of these things started from home. A lot of parents have given the responsibility of raising their children to television. They've given it to, like I said, to the internet. They've shifted the responsibility to the church. You see some parents, they will start blaming people in the children's church and in the teens church, asking questions. What are you teaching my children? What are the things that you are doing? When you hear that a child has done something wrong in the church, just because it happened in the church, they put the blame on the children's teacher or the teens teacher, not knowing that everything started from the home. Okay, no, now, how many hours do these teachers spend with the children? How many hours do they spend with them? Max 2 hours. But the parents will be home with their children. Monday, they will go to school. They will be with them at home. And then, like I said, many parents they don't even have time. They don't even have time for their children. The time is not even there for them to look after these children. And then, so if anything happens in school, they put the blame on the school. If anything happens in church, they put the blame on the church. If anything happens anywhere outside the home, they put the blame on that place. The home is where destinies are being created. And so even the movies that they watch it on the television of their parents. Parents don't put parental guide on their TV anymore. They just leave the children to watch Big Brother, to watch all these movies where immoralities are the order of the day. So on that note, I would now come back to the movie industry and say, yes, they have a part to play, but not 100%. Parents can help their children. They can guide their children. They can train them in the right thing to do. And so they would know what to watch and what not to watch. We need to also work on our entertainment. The entertainment industry is not helping matters. Nollywood has done a lot of havoc to so many children. We see a lot of movie glorifying evil, glorifying people who are making money, via the wrong means. And they are not, yes, they show the consequences, but what is the way out? They will show that if anybody does ritual to make money, yes, there are consequences. The person will be sick, or the person can die, or they can give the person some different kind of do's and don'ts that will affect the person at the end of the day. But the thing is, do they create an alternative? Do they create the way out? And that's what we try to do in the Christian movie industry. We try to see, okay, if you do this, this is the consequence. But for you not to be able to do this, this is what to do. For you not to be able to go through this route, this is an alternative. That is the difference. That is what the Christian movie industry is doing. Preferring solutions and creating alternatives. Instead of doing this, this is what you're supposed to do. Instead of doing this is what you're supposed to do. These are the commandments of God, and these are the consequences, and this is what you should do. If you are already in it, this is what you should do. We're making people see hope, making them see that, even if you are the worst sinner ever, there is hope for you. And that doesn't mean that consequences will not come. It will come, but you can experience the consequences on the background, knowing fully well that God still loves you while you are experiencing your consequences. And when you come out, God gives you the opportunity to come out of that consequence. You will know that you need to teach others that what you have done is bad. What you have done is not good. So we can say that both the home, yes, and the movie industry have a lot to play, but the home is the nature. is the major. I said it before, many parents have left the training of their children to television. They've left it to the internet. A lot of things have been left out and parents are not doing anymore. And I will still go back to sacrifice. Sacrifice and putting your children before God. Let your children know the Lord. Let your children know the Lord. All our children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be their peace. Not that all our children shall be taught by the internet, or shall be taught by the television, or shall be taught by somebody else. They shall be taught by the Lord. And if parents don't have relationship with God, there is no way they can pass it down to their children, because they cannot give what they have.
Thank you so much for that. It's been wonderful having you on the show, and I've really learned a lot from you. Thank you once again for such a time as this with you. Thank you. All right, thank you too for coming on the show. It's indeed a great privilege to know that you've been standing by, or you've been watching since, to actually see the end of this show. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things. It is all about sacrifice from both parts, because it takes two to tango, and the children also should also please endeavor to see that their parents are also making this sacrifice for them to have a better life and a better future. Until next time, when I come your way again with another exciting episode of Let's Talk, I remain Oluja Kemusako. Bye for that.